Thank you very much, Shitra, for the welcome that you have given me. I'm honored to have received the invitation from Dr. Maya Rockeymoore and Henry Ramos to be with you today and with your very distinguished panel. The congressional workload is such that I'm sorry to be interrupting the panel, but from what I've been hearing about what you're saying, it's really very, very important. And why wouldn't it be with the distinguished panelists who are here? Coming in right in the middle of when you're talking about financial institutions and the Color of Wealth Summit, it's really important to note that the financial literacy of our entire population is important, but also to recognize that we make people in the minority, our system has set it up so that people in the minority community spend a fortune to access their own money. Spend a fortune to access their own money. Something is very wrong with this picture. So I know you've been over a lot. You've heard from our colleagues, our distinguished with Mr. Hoyer, Mr. Cummings, Senator Cardin, and others. I thought I would just spring from some of the discussion to put it in a little bit of a historic perspective. I always say to my members, and I'm getting ready for some commencement addresses and the rest, that Arnold Toynbee, Dr. Toynbee, when he was studying the history of civilizations, he talked about something very important. He said that he studied those societies that sustained success over a long period of time, society, a nation, a civilization, whatever. And they were sort of those that were founded by a creative minority. By that he meant the leadership, a minority of the people who would lead. The creative minority was committed to the flowering of civilization and the success of everyone in the society, and understood that the strength of that society depended on that creativity. When it became, or if it even started, as an exploitive minority that existed just for wealth and special interest, sometimes a society could change over time or start out that way, that would cause a schism of the soul of society. Just that impact on the economy, a schism of the soul. Because there wasn't fairness, there wasn't opportunity. And sadly, although our country is great as it is, the greatest country that ever existed in history, well, we won't let that happen to our country, but we have to be on guard. I see that we just had a canonization of 2 popes in Rome the other day, and I was reminded that Pope Benedict, when his first encyclical, Pope Benedict, it was called God is Love. And in the encyclical, he quotes St. Augustine. 17 centuries ago, 1700 years ago, St. Augustine said, any government that does not exist to promote justice is just a bunch of thieves. St. Augustine said that 17 centuries ago. Then Pope Benedict goes on to say, sometimes it is difficult for a government to define what justice is, but you must not be blinded by the blazing light of money and special interest. So here we have people who think about these things, thinkers, intellectuals, values leaders, telling us the responsibility that we have for justice. And that justice is about justice in terms of rights and opportunity, and the economic opportunity that is so central to it. This meeting is so important. I heard the statistic that Chitra mentioned about 6 or 7% of every dollar in the rest. I mean, some of the statistics we have seen that you would be surprised, people would be surprised at how many families in America do not have a net worth of $1,000. What is this? Now, look at what has happened over the past several decades. If you go back, say, 40, 50 years, so just say 40, no less a person than the chairman of the board of Standard Oil of New Jersey, a capitalist, he said, that he said that we should have stakeholder capitalism. Capitalism that said we take into our decisions take into consideration the shareholders, the owners, the management, the employees, the customers and clients, and the community at large, all of the stakeholders. Somewhere from 40 years ago until now, we've turned into shareholder democracy, just about the shareholders, not about the employees, not about the clients, not about the community at large, just that. And what has happened in that period of time? 40 years ago, the disparity in income between the CEO and the worker was about 40 times. 40 times. So you probably went over all this earlier. Forgive me if you have. 40 times. And when productivity increased, the CEO got more, the workers got more as productivity increased. So the line went like that. But now, productivity continues to increase. Our workers are the most productive in the world, but the CEO salary goes like this. The workers plateau off. Not 40 times disparity, closer to 400 times disparity of income from CEO. Now, we don't begrudge anybody their success. We all want to achieve that. God bless them for their creativity, their imagination, and their risk-taking, their entrepreneurship. But if they're getting this because they're exploiting the worker, something is very wrong with this picture. And that is not just. That is not just. In fact, it's not forgetting all the values that we share. It's not good for an economy. And that's why we have, when women succeed, America succeeds. Some of the particulars of it apply to everyone. Raise the minimum wage. Value work. Value work. And have, you know, they say it's teenagers earning sneaker money. No, it's people, the average age is like 35 years old of people making the minimum wage. Pay equity, equal pay for equal work for women. Why should women make less than men? But in addition to that, paid sick leave. How can we, in the greatest country that ever existed in the history of the world, say if your child is sick, you have to stay home, be docked your pay, and if you stay home too often, be docked your job, because you can't they won't give you one sick day, not 1 week of sick leave. And, by the way, how can you possibly afford quality child care to take care of your child? So it's impossible. Parents find themselves in impossible situations. So we're saying value work, paid sick leave, and quality, affordable early childhood learning. Children learning, parents earning, a very good idea. This is something that is a value. This isn't political or anything. This is what people do, right? Who care about family and the strength of our country and talk about our democracy, our patriotism, the strength of our middle class and the lifting of people into the middle class. It's a patriotic thing to do. But it requires decisions. And those decisions cannot be blinded by the glare of money and special interest. They have to be about justice. And they have to be about the particulars, as you say, access to credit, ownership of financial institution, being in that game. And why not? And the federal government can do more in terms of access to capital, can do more in terms of procurement for small businesses and the rest without putting up obstacles and bonding and all the rest that diminish that opportunity for people. And this is about community. Community, that's, everybody benefits. If you raise the minimum wage, it improves the purchasing power of those people, and injecting demand into the economy, creating jobs, and Mr. Bigwig makes more money because people are buying his stuff. So in all of these things, this is the discussion, this is the fight we have. We don't want it to be partisan, but we do have differences of opinion about it. And again, the fastest growing element of our economy are small business and women-owned, minority and women-owned businesses, the fastest part of our economy. So let's remove obstacles of participation to liberty and justice for all. we believe that the Affordable Care Act is a liberating factor for all the things that we're talking about here. Our founders talked about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This enables you to have a healthier life, the liberty to pursue your happiness, not to be job-locked into a job because you have a pre-existing condition or something. You can be self-employed and be an artist or whatever. You can start your own business. You can change jobs. You can reach your aspirations. And isn't that a good thing for society and for an economy? I think so. So anyway, the racial wealth gap is an immorality. It's an immorality. Because you know what? The talent is there. The opportunity should be there. Standing in the way of it is wrong. It's not the American way. So I thank you all for coming together. I thank Dr. Maya Rockamore for her leadership as President and CEO for the Center for Global Economy Policy, and Henry for his important work. Thank you, Henry. But all of you for coming together to share your thoughts, to exchange ideas, and to share them with us so that we have not our own view of how things should be, but your view. Your view. And that is the thing that we always have to say to people, tell us how you see the solutions, and let us work together to make them a reality for our great country. I'm optimistic that it will happen. Too many people are affected. Too many great minds, as we see here, are at work challenging the status quo, and we just have to make a difference. So I thank you for what you are doing to make a difference, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to share some thoughts with you today. Thank you so much.